Hello there. The European Commission last week adopted a European Freedom of the Media Act. That's a new set of rules to protect media pluralism and independence in the EU. The proposed regulation includes safeguards against political interference in editorial decisions and against surveillance. The focus is on the independence and stable funding of public service media, as well as on the transparency of media ownership and the allocation of government advertising spending. Measures to protect the independence of editors and to disclose conflicts of interest are also specified. Finally, the law addresses the issue of media concentration and creates a new independent European media services body composed of representatives of national media regulators. In addition, the Commission has adopted a complementary recommendation to promote internal safeguards for editorial independence. The European Freedom of the Media Act ensures that public and private media can more easily operate across borders in the EU internal market without being subject to undue pressure. In addition, the digital transformation of the media space is taken into account. Protection of editorial independence is one important thing. The regulation obliges member states to respect the actual editorial freedom of media service and providers and to improve the protection of journalistic sources. In addition, media service providers must ensure ownership transparency by disclosing relevant information and taking steps to ensure the independence of individual editorial decisions. And there's no use of spyware against media. The Freedom of the Media Act contains strict safeguards against the use of spyware against media, also against journalists and their families. And there is the independent public service media. Where they exist, public service media should be adequately and stably funded to ensure editorial independence. The appointment of directors and board members of public service media must be transparent, open, and non-discriminatory. Public service media providers should present a variety of information and opinions in an impartial manner in accordance with their public service mandate. And then there's the media pluralism assessment. The Freedom of the Media Act requires member states to assess the impact of media market concentration on media pluralism and editorial independence. In addition, any legislative, regulatory, or administrative action taken by a member state that could affect the media must be duly justified and proportionate. And then there is transparent government advertising. The Freedom of the Media Act establishes new requirements for allocating government advertising spending to the media so that it is transparent and non-discriminatory. The law will also improve the transparency and objectivity of audience measurement systems that affect media advertising revenues, particularly online. And then there's the protection of media content on the internet. Building on the Digital Services Act, the Freedom of the Media Act provides safeguards against the unjustified removal of media content produced to professional standards. In cases where no systemic risks, such as, for example, where disinformation exists, very large online platforms that intend to remove certain legal media content that they consider inconsistent with the platform's principles must inform media service providers of the reasons before such removal takes effect. Complaints from media service providers must be dealt with as a priority by these platforms. And then there's new user right to customize the media offering. The Media Freedom Act introduces a right to customize the media offering on devices and interfaces such as network televisions so that users can change the default settings and customize them as they wish. This proposal is accompanied by a recommendation setting out a set of voluntary industry-backed practices aimed at promoting editorial independence and greater transparency of ownership. The recommendation provides a set of voluntary measures that media companies can consider. These range, for example, from conditions for the independent production of editorial content to measures to enable journalists to participate in the decision that are important for the functioning of the media, so strategies to ensure the long-term stable production of news content. The Commission is proposing to set up a new independent European body for media services composed of the media regulators of the member states, as I said. The body will promote the effective and consistent application of the EU legal framework for the media, in particular by assisting the Commission in drafting guidelines on media regulatory issues. It will also be able to give opinions on national policies and decisions affecting media markets and media market concentrations. The body will also coordinate national regulatory measures regarding third country media that pose a risk to public safety, so that these media do not circumvent the rules in force in the EU. The body will also organize a structured dialogue between very large online platforms and the media sector to promote access to different media offerings and to monitor whether platforms comply with self-regulatory initiatives such as the EU Code of Conduct of Combating Disinformation. It is now up to the European Parliament and the Member States to discuss the Commission's proposal for this regulation under the ordinary legislative procedure. Once passed, the law will apply immediately throughout the European Union. The Commission will stimulate discussions on voluntary practices by media companies in the context of accompanying recommendations, in particular within the framework of the European News Media Forum. And I'll see you in my next video. I'll be back.